Yes, welcome to another part of Research Cues in Biology. You are with me, George Chapusa. Remember, the last time we discussed research skills, that was regarded as part one, whereby we were introduced to the term biology, and then we discussed the importance of studying this biology. We further discussed issues on how you may handle glasswares in the laboratory, how you may handle specimens, and how you may handle heatings when you are doing heatings in the laboratory. But now today, we want to share the safety science in the laboratory. The safety science in the laboratory. Remember, we are still doing research skills whereby we learn so many things. As we are going to be studying biology, we're supposed to know different kind of ways on how we may handle different things in this so-called biology. Now, before we come to the safety science that we might see them in the laboratory, we as students, learners, I should say, or in our everyday life, we have seen different kind of science. And those science, they communicate a lot of things to us. For example, suppose you are on the school field and you realize that it was about to rain. What would be the sign that would make you realize that it is about to rain? Probably the presence of dark clouds and strong winds would tell you. So these are signs of rainfall. Not only that, you may also have a different example. Suppose you were walking toward your home and you noticed thick clouds of smoke coming from a bush. What would this tell you? This is also a sign that the smoke is a sign that the bush could be on fire. Have you ever seen so many signs in your community? If you have ever, thank you. So now let us see if you have ever seen this kind of a sign somewhere. Now I take you to this kind of a sign. This sign can be found in a laboratory. This sign can be found also in a laboratory. This is a sign that is communicating to people or the users of the laboratory that around the area where this sign is placed, there should be no smoking. No smoking. So this is no smoking sign. No smoking sign. There is a diagram of a cigar. The cigar is, this is a cigar, and then this is cancelling that no smoking here. The sign is a warning, and this is warning people not to smoke while in that particular area where the symbol is. So as you are going to use the laboratory, beware of such kind of symbols. So that is a symbol that is preventing all laboratory users not to smoke around that area. In the laboratory, that is not the only symbol. There are also warning signs on various containers of laboratory chemicals and apparatus. You may find some of these common laboratory warning signs as shown in the table below. So these are examples of warning signs and their meanings. It is important that the meanings are also given to you, which means as you study them, you'll also know what they mean if you see them in the laboratory. So these are examples of laboratory warning signs, and here at the far end, we have their meanings. Now we have the first warning sign. This sign is an electric shock sign. It's an electric shock sign, and this is communicating to you, and it has a meaning that it can cause electric shock, which means if you see this kind of a sign around that area, that means this is communicating to you that around that area you may easily get electric shock. Then there is another warning sign. This is an inflammable, meaning around that area there are so many inflammable materials. So the material can catch fire easily. So we have another symbol, which is this symbol. This is an explosive warning sign. And the meaning could be the material can explode very, very easily. Not only these symbols, we also have other symbols like a corrosive symbol. This is a corrosive symbol. So this is another type of a sign that you might find also in the laboratory. And the meaning of this symbol is that the material you are handling, you should handle it carefully, as it can cause a collision or a burning of the skin. So this is a corrosive symbol. Then we have another symbol which is just an X. This is an irritant warning sign. Irritant warning sign. So if you see this kind of a symbol in the laboratory, it means handle the material carefully, as it can lead to irritation. As we continue with these symbols, there is another symbol which is looking like this, and this symbol is saying dangerous. This is a dangerous warning sign. This is a dangerous warning sign, and the meaning: take care because it can cause death. Meaning, when you are handling such kind of materials with this symbol, they are telling you to say they are dangerous. You may lose life because of the same materials. And there is another symbol which looks like this. This is a radioactive. Radioactive. So it's a warning sign as well. This is a sign that it emits radiations or rays which are dangerous. There are so many rays. As you study physics or chemistry, you may also discuss issues to do with rays. So there are so many kind of rays. You'll come on and learn more as you learn physics and chemistry. Then another type of laboratory symbol is the lesser radiation. This is a sign for the lesser radiation. So this is telling you to beware of radiation waves. Radiation waves. So those are some of the symbols. You might find them as you enter the laboratory. And you have known the meanings, which means for now you'll be aware of such kind of symbols. And furthermore, you should note this. When certain laboratory apparatus are purchased, they are packed in carton boxes. The boxes have signs. And some of the signs, I'll show them below. But those signs are also supposed to be taken note, because you will not find those signs in the laboratory. You will find those signs on cartons which you use to purchase your items from different kind of shops. They also communicate something that you need to know. So some are these symbols. Some you will come to know them as you read on every carton that you buy. Now we have the two arrows pointing up. These are telling you to say the box should be kept upright. The box should be kept upright, meaning if you put the box upside down, which means something is going to happen. So that is a warning. Please keep that warning. And there is one arrow which is pointing up. This is telling you that the box should not be held using hooks. The box should not be held using hooks. And then another sign is more like the shape of an umbrella. The shape of an umbrella. You may know the use of an umbrella. An umbrella is shielding someone from rainfall. So this is telling you that the box should be kept away from rain or moisture. Then another kind of a sign is more like a shape of a glass, a tumbler glass, and this is telling you that the box contains glasswares or items that can easily break. They are fragile. There are things which are fragile. There are glasswares which are fragile. Something to note, a box may have one or more of the above signs, which means they can combine A and B or C and D, whatever it combines, but all of them, they communicate different kind of messages, which means the materials inside the container, they are supposed to be kept away maybe from both of such kind of notice. Yeah, now let us look at the risk factors in a science laboratory. Risk factors in a science laboratory. The factors in a science laboratory include the following. One, burns. As a student, you are going to use basin burners, candles, paraffin lamps to burn or boil substances during investigations. Two, poisoning. As a result of contact with poisonous chemicals, which may be used in the laboratory to carry out an experiment. Such kind of things might also cause other risks in the laboratory. So you will find that these chemicals might include acids, base, formalin, ethanol, and some types of menthols. The chemicals might cause harm to humans when they come into contact with the body or when they are swallowed. So such kind of chemicals are supposed to be taken note because they can cause a lot of problems on your body. Now, how can we handle if we happen to face such kind of accidents? Now, I want us to learn on handling of accidents when they happen in a laboratory. The most important rule in handling accident in the laboratory or the school laboratory is to inform the teacher as soon as possible, or any kind of instructor who is with you in the laboratory. If that is not a teacher, you may have laboratory assistants sometimes. So it is all important. The teacher will take correct measures to handle the accident. In case of fire break out in the lab, do not try to put it off. Quietly move out of the room and help other students move out. Do not shout or scream as you move out. Why? Why do you think you should not shout or scream as you move out? You might frighten other students. As a result, they might be shocked, or else they might be confused with the shout. Do not block the other student from moving out, so that everybody must move out to avoid the accident causing a lot of damage. In case of the smell leaking gas in the laboratory, call the teacher immediately. Call the teacher immediately. Check all the gas taps to make sure they are closed. Ensure no open fire is burning in the laboratory. If you continue doing like this, you will always prevent such kind of accident in the laboratory. So in case of a cut, when doing an experiment, do not touch the blood of the injured part. Do you think that is important? Yes. You don't know how clean is that blood. You may catch a disease through contacting someone's blood. So it is important not to touch that kind of the blood when someone has an injured cut. Pick the first aid box, put on gloves, and attend to the student. Yes, the gloves will help you to be protected so that you might also not happen to catch that blood with your direct or your bare hands. Now, contact the blood of another person may lead to serious infections to you and also to the injured person. So that's why I said you may catch infections as you happen to contact that blood directly with your bare hands. So it is necessary that you put on the gloves so that you attend to that person properly. So in case an acid spills on your skin, do not wipe the skin. Wash the acid off with lots of clean water. Wash that with a lot of clean water. Do not rub the skin. Wash the skin until the itching stops. So this is the first aid box which you are supposed to use when you are handling cases in the laboratory. Yeah, so in case of injury by a piece of a broken glass, seek help from your teacher. Do not try to remove the piece. Do not try to remove the piece. Why? Because you may extend the injury. You may extend the injury. So the piece should remain there until specialists are supposed to remove that piece. In case of accidental swallowing of any chemical, do not take anything. Do not take anything, but go to the teacher for attention as quickly as you can. As quickly as you can. To be safe in the laboratory, one must follow the laboratory safety laws. To be safe in the laboratory, one must follow the laboratory safety laws. Now, here we're supposed to discuss laboratory rules, or we may do such kind of experiment in a classroom, so we might also call them classroom laws. The first point, laboratory rules are a set of instructions that ensure proper use of laboratory facilities and safety to all laboratory users. So the rules are placed on the notice board or on the walls of the laboratory so that everybody can see them. So the following is a list of some laboratory rules. Let us pay attention as we see these laws, because in the near future, as we take ourselves to lesson of biology, we are going to the laboratory and we need to know them before we go to this laboratory. Do not enter the laboratory without permission. Is that important? Yes. Do not enter the laboratory without permission of the teacher or the laboratory technician. 2, do not run or rush into and within the laboratory. Why? Because you may damage, you may break as you rush, you may fall down, such kind of things. So to avoid that, do not run or rush and into or within the laboratory. Number 3, avoid unnecessary movement while in the laboratory. Avoid unnecessary movement while in the laboratory. As you move, you can affect, you can break, you can cause so many, or you may be, you may have some injuries, such kind of things. Then 4, do not carry out any activity in the laboratory before getting permission from your teacher or laboratory technician. 5, do not eat or taste or directly smell any substance that is in the laboratory, including food substances brought into the laboratory for the purpose of an experiment, not unless you are instructed to do so. Remember, in the laboratory, we conduct different kind of experiment. Some of the things which might come to the laboratory are food items. You may be tempted to eat some of the food items, but the instruction tells you to say, do not, and that should not, you should also understand that if we say do not that only the students should not eat. Even instructors, teachers, the technicians, they don't also eat in the laboratory. So because we already know, that's why we're saying you should not eat or smell or directly smell any substances that are brought to you in the laboratory. So follow or seek the teacher's advice when smelling any gases, chemicals, substances in the laboratory, because other gases, chemicals, or substances are hazardous to our health. So you may smell such kind of gases or chemicals, and they might cause other problems on your health. Then 6, do not tamper with electrical or gas fitting in the laboratory. Electrical things might cause shock, or gases might cause other problems. So do not tamper. To tamper is to play with them. 7, always turn off the gas and water taps after use. Yes. After use, you turn them off because you may leave the taps running whereby the water is of no use at that time, then that is just wastage. So close or turn off the gas and water taps after use. Then 8, do not interfere with the experiments of other students. Do not interfere with experiments of other students. There are so many things that you might affect as you interfere with them. 1, you might affect the research. 2, you might remove their concentrations. And 3, you might also happen to break or damage other things which they are using. Then 9, always check on the labels of reagents before using them and strictly follow the instructions given. Always check on the labels of reagents before using them and strictly follow the instructions given, because you might be using things which are not under the experiment. Then 10, if a chemical gets into contact with the skin, wash the affected part with plenty of water thoroughly, and then seek assistance from the teacher. 11, do not dispose hot materials into dustbins. Hot materials into dustbins. Some dustbins must also happen to catch fire. So as you dump or you deposit, you depose them in those kind of dustbins, you might also cause accidents. Then 12, always dispose solid waste, for example, remains of plants and fruits, into a dustbin and not in the sink. This has been contrary to what we discussed in point number 11. That one was telling you no disposal of hot substances into dustbins, but these solid waste are supposed to be dumped or disposed in the dustbins, not in the sink. Do not carry any laboratory item from the laboratory. Those are used in the laboratory and they are supposed to be kept in the laboratory. Then 14, always wash all the equipment and apparatus after using them for an experiment and store them well. Store them well. This is very, very important. 15, do not mix substances in the laboratory before receiving instructions from the teacher or laboratory assistant. Do not mix? Yes. Some, I have already said, some chemicals, some metals, if mixed in the laboratory, they cause explosions. They may cause different kind of reactions. So to avoid that, do not mix, because you are just learning them now. You don't know what kind of research they might bring after you mix them. So you should not mix any type of substance in the laboratory before you receive instructions from the teacher or any laboratory technician. Now, 16, cut items carefully to avoid cutting oneself. You'll be using scalpels, laser blades. When you are cutting the materials, cut them carefully to avoid cutting yourself. Then you should also understand, in case of a cut, seek assistance from the teacher or laboratory technician. Those people, they will help you on how you might yeah. Now, point number 17, handle biological specimen with care. Handle biological specimen with care. This specimen might be live or dead ones. Why? Because they may carry diseases cause organisms, disease-causing organisms. And to add on that, they might also be dangerous themselves. They might also be dangerous, whereby they may also, they can bite, they might cause irritations, and they might bring so many things on your health. Then 17, avoid shouting, joking, or fooling around in the laboratory. This also is prevented. As you do experiment, or you join the laboratory, you are supposed to be quiet as you do your experiment. 19, cover your head if you have short hair when in the laboratory. Cover your head if you have short hair when you are in the laboratory. Most of the people in the laboratory, they wear something covering their hairs. Why? Some of the hairs might be falling on the experimental objects. Now, you have been listening very carefully to this lesson. Now, this is a review exercise whereby you are supposed to at least practice answering them as you were listening. Now, question number 1, you are supposed to draw any 3 laboratory signs and give their meanings. You remember, I explained about laboratory signs, and I want you to draw them and give their meanings. Then 2, briefly explain how you can handle an accident in a laboratory. Explain how you may handle an accident in a laboratory. Then 3, list any 7 laboratory laws. There are so many, so just list 7 of them. This has been a nice lesson to you, I hope, and we are going to meet next time in biology from 1 topic 2, where we are going to discuss drawings, apparatus, and biological diagrams. This has been George Chapusa, your biology teacher. Thank you for now. We meet in the next lesson. Thank you.